Once a season in professional bowling, a player gets the chance to prove he is the best of the very best. A contest where everyone is a PBA title holder. A tournament of champions. Jason Belmonte has accomplished this task not just once, but twice before. And a third TOC win today would cement his status as one of the greatest this sport has ever seen. His 10th major championship. But don't hand him the trophy just yet. Remember, everyone here knows how to win. This is the PBA signature event. This is the Tournament of Champions. They lined up for hours to fill our standing room only setting as one of the most prized venues in all of bowling gets set for another run at history. 5 are in line for $1 million moment and a major title. Your #1 seed today, Jason Belmonte, sits on the cusp of bowling immortality. Marshall Kent, E.J. Tackett stand in his way, but we begin our coverage today with our 4 versus 5 showdown. Josh Blanchard taking on Sean Lavery-Spahr. With that, we welcome you to the Tournament of Champions, first major of the season here on the PBA Tour. Rob Stone, the Hall of Famer, Randy Peterson. Different vibe here this week, no doubt about it. We're at this historic venue where so many legends have created magical moments. We had this $1 million payday kind of lurking over this entire broadcast. Should one of our finalists have a perfect game, they get a cool $1 million. But maybe the biggest story of all, Jason Belmonte, one of the best this sport has ever seen, clearly one of the best of our generation. He has a chance today to add his name to bowling history.
He really does. You know, in my 39 years of being on the PBA Tour, whether it was on the lanes competing or behind the microphone, I've never seen a player change the sport of bowling quite like Jason Belmonte has. It reminds me a lot of Tiger Woods when he was in his prime. And today with a win, Jason will add his name to a very elite list. He'll tie Earl Anthony and Pete Weber with 10 major titles. That'll be #1 on that all-time list. But look at some of those names, Rob. Mike Albee, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Norm Duke. But I think when it's all said and done, at the end of Jason Belmonte's career on this tour, he'll be the winningest player in the history of major championships on the PBA Tour.
He gets a win today. Does he go on the Mount Rushmore of professional bowling?
Without question.
Major story. Can't wait to follow it through the course of this broadcast live today on Fox. For more on Belmo, we go laneside. Here's Kimberly Pressler.
Thanks, Rob. So, Jason, yesterday you talked about what an honor it was to be in this building and on the same lanes as all the greats before you when they laced up. And today you have a chance at making history of your own, but what's it like to be on a TV final in this iconic building?
It's unbelievable, to be honest. Just to kind of think about, you know, whose feet have stepped on these approaches, the very best the game has ever seen, the current best, and then who's going to step on these approaches into the future. It's a beautiful thing. I'm very honored to be a part of that list, and hopefully now I can claim to have won in the same building.
Something else you're going to take part in today is for sure you have a chance in the final to go for $1 million. Is that in your brain at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, $1 million US. That's a lot of Aussie dollars. You know, I've already half spent it in my mind, so hopefully I give everybody a good start. I'd rather not go 9 spare first frame and ruin it, but you know, fingers crossed we get 12 of the best ones of my life down there.
All right, we're going to let you get back to practice, and we'll see you in the final match, guys.
All right, Kimberly, thank you. Field size this week, Randy, nothing but champions in that field of 65.
There was a PTQ that got 6 players in, but you know, the beauty of the Tournament of Champions has always been that, as us champions used to say, it was the easiest tournament to make match play in and the toughest match play field you'll ever bowl against.
PTQ being a pre-tournament qualifier. Your step-ladder bracket looks like this. Lavery-Spahr in his television debut and at a major, Randy, starts off taking on Blanchard, Tackett, Kent, Belmo waiting in the wings.
42 games in all this week, and we're down to 5.
Talked about it in the open. It's just a different feeling in this building. What's been going on this week, a later start time than normal. You get the sense so many people, yourself and I included, have been waiting all day for this event to start. Sean Lavery-Spahr from Pasadena, Texas, his first ever shot on television. Come on! He mentioned to us yesterday, look, I know I'm going to be a little nervous. He's factoring this into his game plan as well. His twin brother was on TV a couple weeks ago. They've been talking about how to handle the big life under the bright lights.
Anthony, a couple of weeks ago, bowling on television in the doubles event.
92% of the time this week, he's taking care of that single pin 10. He buries it there.
Keep an eye on that. He missed 3 of them throughout the event. As we take a look at our oil pattern, it's the 40-foot Don Johnson pattern, and named after one of the most iconic figures of this event. We'll remember Don Johnson in the 299 game.
Josh Blanchard gets them all to drop. Go on with the oil pattern, Randy. It's a big talking point today.
So it's short in terms of length, and it forced the players to play the outside part of the lane. And even though the blue looks very concentrated in the middle, the players couldn't play there because of the length. And so it forced them to play farther towards the outside part of the lane, and a lot of the players using urethane to control down lane motion.
Blanchard from Mesa, Arizona. His wife, Amy, in the crowd. Flew in last night. Flew by the 10. So Lavery-Spahr took care of the 10 on the last frame. Blanchard has had 48 looks at the single pin 10 this week. He's converted all of them.
Yeah, perfect on this one.
And if you feel like we're overstressing the single pin spare conversions, there's a reason, my friend, particularly this season.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, here's an interesting stat for Josh Blanchard. He was perfect on every single pin he shot at throughout the week.
Best TOC for Lavery-Spahr coming into the week, 23rd. That was 2 years ago. He just shattered it this week. He's got the smile. He's got the internal conversation going on right now. And look, this is a challenging oil pattern. The lights are extra bright this week with the TOC. We've seen a lot of strong games followed by poor games. It's just managing those poor games, keeping yourself out of trouble, taking care of your spares.
Well, absolutely. And when the scoring pace is low and the pattern is tricky, the key is to stay clean and fill frames, meaning make your spares when you don't strike. I think one of the interesting things in talking with Sean Lavery-Spahr yesterday was he seemed very confident, which is fine, but he also said he wasn't nervous throughout the week, throughout the tournament, and he probably wouldn't be nervous today. My question is, does he fully comprehend what's happening and the significance of today?
Which might be an advantage for him. Come on, 10 pin. You gotta be kidding me.
Shut. All 2 of the players have flushed the pocket with every shot. We have 1 strike in 5 frames, and that was Josh Blanchard in the first. I think this is a great start for Sean, honestly. 10 pin in the first, 4 pin, 10 pin.
Stays clean.
And he's making spares.
Absolutely.
All is good right now.
He gave us a bit of a magic number as well. He said 240. If I can bowl a 240 and it's not enough, no problem. Hats off to Blanchard. But 240 is that magic number he's got in his brain to hit. See the arsenal for Blanchard today? Going with the Black Widow urethane.
Sounds ominous.
Oh, boy. What a break.
Messenger taking down the 10.
Yeah, great break there. You see strike track with the blue and the red line. Remember today's strike track, the blue line is the last good strike on that lane. The red line is the current shot. As we take a look one more time at the 7-10 that was almost left for Josh Blanchard.
12 times through qualifying, he had the 7-pin standing, took care of it every single time, and that trend continues. So Blanchard, strike, spare, spare. We get ready for the fourth. We asked Blanchard yesterday, describe the season for us. And I wrote it down. The direct quote was, not good. Right, and that's an understatement. The results had not been there, but he felt confident in the way he was throwing it, building up into this one. And for Sean, kind of a different story. You go back a couple weeks ago in Lubbock, he had to withdraw, had an arm injury, strained muscles, inflamed tricep. He said he bowled maybe 9 games, Randy, coming into the TOC. Yeah. Expectations were so low for him. He goes through the pre-tournament qualifier, and here he is in the final 5 of a major.
Take a look at his arsenal. Rogue blade. Oh boy. I think the common denominator for both players, in getting back to your comments, Rob, is that neither player has visited the pay window all season.
Right.
But talk about being able to get rich quick. This is the tournament to turn everything around at.
8-10, he saw this 3 times during qualifying. Unable to convert any of them.
And he gets that one! He gets that one! Oh, my! You know what that is, Randy?
I do.
That is a standing ovation, and that is your hammer tough spare replay. Remember this frame. Staring at an open frame in the 4th and drops it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't remember the last time an 8-10 was made. I know it's been made on TV before, but that was pretty spectacular. And that's what speed and power will do for you. The harder you can throw it at that 10 pin, that's the way you make it. You have to bounce it out of the pit. It's exactly what Sean did.
Now, what does he do with this momentum? Still hasn't struck.
About the only lucky thing that's happened to him is making the 8-10.
Right.
Another pocket hit that doesn't strike.
You were his coach right now. What would you be telling him?
Tell him to just hang in there. Josh Blanchard is not running away with this, and keep making shots and hitting the pocket.
Missed this 3 times this week. Drills that one into the pit.
All 5 of those got nutted.
He just told his ball rep, I threw all 5 of those really good. I mean, those aren't the exact words he used, but.
I like your PG version a little better.
Thank you.
Third strike for Blanchard.
Come on. Both players' break point, according to Strike Track, very similar. But Josh Blanchard, a little bit lower rev rate, much softer hand, and he's going a bit straighter. This reminds me of Riviera back in the 80s and 90s. That straight line to the pocket. Ooh. And the averages.
going for the 2-4-5. Oh no, open frame. That was the first time he saw a 2-4-5 this week and unable to cover it. PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or to locate a bowling center near you, log on to gobowling.com. Back to AMF Riviera Lanes here in Fair Lawn, Ohio, just outside of Akron. Sean Lavery-Spahr with a 1-pin advantage over Josh Blanchard. How about the season Sean Rash is having? But you remember 2 weeks ago, Randy, we talked about single-spare issues.
No. Well, it's been the case pretty much at the start of the season.
Had he converted that, he essentially would have won the tournament. This is what happened in qualifying this week. 7-10 hip check on the outside of the 10.
Yeah, he actually slid that over, which is very rare.
Take a look at your PBA playoff points, courtesy of Volvo. Follow no one. Top 30 we're going to show you, but only the top 24 after the USBC Masters in Vegas, April 1st, will qualify for the PBA playoffs. The top 8 get a first-round bye. You see TJ, Tommy Jones in at number 20. Brad Miller, the man sitting on the north side of that thin yellow line. Again, the Volvo PBA playoff points list. We're going to be tracking it all season long.
Did you mention triple points for today?
I did not. Thank you for bringing it up, my friend. Nothing but spares for Lavery-Spahr here in his TV debut. Still hunting that elusive first strike, but he's got a 1-pin lead. There's your strike.
And a nice way to recover for Sean Lavery-Spahr. And according to Strike Track, he's been within 1.5 inches of his target at the arrows on every shot he's thrown thus far. 1.5 boards, and that's extremely accurate, and you had to be on this pattern.
You see Carmen Salvino in the background. He can barely watch. Nervous. Heard something in the background, Randy?
Something got him.
Hey, while we have this moment, I want to do a quick shout out, my friend. USBC Hall of Famer Joan Romeo had a stroke recently in LA. She's doing great. She's recovering right now, getting ready to attend her granddaughter's wedding. Joan's daughter, Robin, one of the greatest female bowlers ever. I just want to send our thoughts out to Joan and the entire Romeo family. Good people, and great bowling family.
So good.
I think that he got too much of that one at the bottom of the swing, meaning that he really wristed that one and grabbed it. And that made the ball break loose and hook a little bit sooner than he wanted. As you take a look at his 3.610 conversion rate.
80% of the time he got it this week. He's already covered one challenging spare, gets another.
TJ, I made the 3.610 for you.
The spare shooting has been spot on thus far. Josh Blanchard, whose spare game has been ridiculous this week, is the one with the open frame in the 6th.
Blanchard can max out, though, at 234. Off an open frame. Here he is in the 7th. Right through the nose, but gets them all to drop.
And what a huge break that is.
Oh, you bet. He knows it as well.
Can't throw them all in the pocket.
This isn't a shot that goes high because he gets it left of target. He gets it in a good spot, and it just hooks so early. That's what made the ball cross over. Everything else looked pretty good.
Found some traction a little earlier than anticipated. We start the 8th. 1-pin match. Right in the pocket. Messenger kicks it into the pit. Come on! Get in the pit and love someone!
Watch this headpin go to the sidewall, comes across and kicks the 10 out like Jackie Chan. You gotta love it. How about that big double? It's taking advantage of a great break in the 7th, Rob.
Lavery-Spahr down 9. Whips it in and drops them all. There's his twin brother in the house, Anthony. He asked immediately for a re-rack on this one, Randy, as we begin the 9th. Let's take a look at his track technique.
7-step approach and very violent move at the bottom of the swing. Look how he turns his hand in. Swing comes out away from him. Really great positions here. And then strong young man. Look at that bent elbow, that cupped wrist. He really gets after it at the release point. That's what creates the power in today's power game of bowling.
9-pin match in the 9th. Oh, boy.
Back-to-back shots on that lane that goes high. And back-to-back 3-6-10s.
On that left lane.
Yes.
Covered it last time. He's been clean all match. Blanchard with that open frame in the 6th. Looming right now as the difference.
Well, fortunate you don't typically see the 3-6-10 made that way, but he still made it, and he still has life.
Blanchard in the 9th, looking for 3 in a row.
What's that noise? Machine?
Yeah, he hears a noise that Randy is right behind you and I. You and I are at the end of the lane, and we've been hearing it through our headset all day.
Lane 36 just turned on, and EJ Tackett's practicing on it. Okay, so Josh Blanchard is in the 2-0s right now with a strike here in the 9th. We get to the 2 teens, and he can shut out Sean Lavery-Spahr. Oh, boy.
This has become a very scrappy affair here in our opening match, the TOC. Oh boy, missed the 5.
Real.
Really? Really?
Well, remember earlier he missed the 2-4-5. This time he chops the 2-5, and now he's in danger of losing the match.
Second open frame.
How many times have we seen this throughout the season? A player misses spares that typically are made at this level. Now he strikes out for 200 on the nose. Sean Lavery-Spahr can strike out for 205.
Really nice response from Blanchard.
He's got to have the next one to force the pressure back onto Sean Lavery-Spahr and give him something to think about.
EJ Tackett, your 3 seed waiting in the wings. You see what the 2 can max out at.
Well, I do think that Josh Blanchard's going to look back on this, and his spare shooting was so good all week long until today, and it's going to cost him this match.
Regardless, this will be his best major finish ever. Coming into the week, his best TOC, Randy, 21st in 2014, his best major, 10th at the 2012 US Open. Looks like he's going to finish 5th here at the TOC. Last year, the TOC won by a pre-tournament qualifier, Matt O'Grady. This year, a pre-tournament qualifier again made the show. Sean Lavery-Ray working his way to the next match.
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me?
He's got to make the 2-8-10 in order to win.
So good, too.
He needs a spare 9 now to win it. I've seen the 2-8-10 made twice in my 19 years of broadcasting the PBA Tour, twice on television.
He's had some amazing spare shots today already. Does he have another one in his arsenal? Oof. And that's it.
What a finish.
Great ball. Great ball.
Crazy stuff there, Rob.
Jeez. It's a major, right? I don't think we should be overly surprised that these things happen. Josh Blanchard, survive and advance. Up next, it's your 3 seed. E.J. Tackett, who's looking to do something only 9 others have, win multiple TOCs. We welcome you back to the 54th edition of the Tournament of Champions. 31st time it's been held here at AMF Riviera Lanes in Fair Lawn, just outside of Akron. Standing room only crowd. Everybody packed in, Randy, behind the lanes. Oh, it's such a great atmosphere. We've got a world title showdown coming up. World featherweight champ Leo the Earthquake Santa Cruz is going to put his belt on the line against Rafael Big Bang Rivera. That is live Saturday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app. We had a bit of a featherweight showdown in our opening matchup, 190 to 180. Josh Blanchard, your 4 seed, survive and advance. Moves on to match number 2 to take on your 3 seed, E.J. Tackett.
It's got old school feel to it.
Yeah, it sure does.
It reminds me of back in the day when we used to come to Riviera Lanes in late April, culminating the winter tour, and everybody was gassed looking for some time off, but it was the Tournament of Champions, and you got so geeked for this event you couldn't wait to get here.
10 is not going to go down.
Darn, 10-10.
Josh Blanchard is playing the left lane to hook a little bit more, according to Strike Track, about 2 boards farther towards the center part of the lane with target and feet. Perfect on the 10-pin all week.
I can spare.
Yes, you can. Just the 2-4-5 and the 2-5, but those spares are very choppable, and it just happened to be one of those times where you didn't want to see that, Josh, but you got through it.
You see the crowd behind Tackett. It extends all the way down there to the right. This venue we were talking about, Randy, kind of like Yankee Stadium, if you will, for bowling. It's got that great sign out in front. Yankee Stadium has that, I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee sign. That's how you start. Little attack in the first.
Just very well may be the most talented player on tour that uses his thumb. It's amazing what E.J. Tackett can do with a bowling ball. I love the open hand at the release point. Watch this again, folks, when he lets go of it, how the fingers point straight up to the ceiling. Very reminiscent of a guy by the name of Pete Weber.
He's one of only 5 players who have won both Rookie and Player of the Year honors in his career. One of them is your number 1 seed as well, Jason Belmonte. Back-to-back jacks to open up match 2.
I think E.J. Tackett's really going to get this oil pattern in this game, and I say that because I think there's enough down lane oil now that's been created by the urethane bowling balls that's actually going to help E.J. Tackett. And that's the difference between reactive resin and urethane. The urethane cover stocks are so abrasive, and there's not much down lane motion. They drag oil down the lane, they dry up the front part of the lane. Reactive resin balls more like a dragster slick, where it gets down the lane much faster and comes around the corner faster.
Blanchard remains perfect, dropping the single pin 2 this week.
Reset.
And he's looking for a re-rack. Our number 3 seed, Marshall Kent, waiting in the wings. Kimberly Pressler with him right now.
Thanks, guys. So, Marshall, you said that after the Oklahoma Open, you went home and realized that you just were not playing up to the potential that you thought you had. And you said you changed a few things. What were those things that you changed to help get you on the show here today?
Yeah, after the first 2 weeks of the season, I knew I wasn't good enough. So I went home. I worked with my dad for a few weeks, and
got back into shape. Did 2 days on the lanes and practicing. Spent 2 hours in the gym a day. I actually dropped 19 pounds as of today. So in 3 weeks, just cleaning everything up and getting back to where I really feel good and back to where I really want to be and know that I can compete for a major.
All right. Well, good luck for you today.
Thank you.
Kent, 4 career tour titles, 0 majors.
Josh Blanchard made a big ball change there, Rob, in frame 3. He went to reactive resin, and you can see there was much more down lane shape and motion because of that change.
First time today we've seen 3 strikes in a row.
Yeah, well, look at the preferred line is the blue line. You can see the red line, which was EJ's last shot, and you can see it was significantly left, almost 2 boards left of the first shot he threw, and it held pocket. That's a great sign for EJ Tackett. That means that some oil's been pushed down towards the head pin, and that gives him a little bit more mistake area. He knows that if he gets his hand out of the ball correctly, he can actually miss a little left and right now. And when I say a little left and right, we're talking inches.
The lead is at 21. We start the 4th. Randy, the word is ham bone.
Can you use it in a sentence for me, please?
EJ Tackett just dropped a ham bone at the TOC.
Well played, sir.
A little spelling bee reference for you.
Oh, boy.
That 10 pin has been ornery today.
Yeah, no matter with any piece of equipment, that looked like a pretty good shot, but again, just a little soft into the pocket. Remember, the ball has to drive hard enough through the 1-3 if you're a right-hander to kick that 10 out.
Come on. Gotta get it going now.
Yeah, you really want to, Josh, because you know you can't let EJ Tackett get too far in front of you because he is a striking monster.
Tackett with the front 4. Blanchard's only strike came in the 3rd as we start the 5th. That one looked good. Man, he felt it and he knew it.
Well, he's trying to remind EJ Tackett that he's still there. You know, EJ's been here before, and he's won the Tournament of Champions before. He's looking to be a 2-time winner. The first time a player won the Tournament of Champions twice was back in 1973. That was Jim Godman.
Tackett has the first 4 strikes in this match. Should he or any other bowler on today's show roll a perfect game, everyone in America, Randy, can receive a free game of bowling courtesy of Go Bowling. To claim that free game, head to gobowling.com, register for the Go Bowling Free America promotion. That one was wide of target, got a late one to drop, but that's not going to make this cleanup any easier.
Well, he's been real erratic on that lane, but the first shot struck, the next one got it inside of target, and it laid there and struck, and this one he gets right of target about 2 inches, and it leaves the 210, catching a nice break, tripping the 8 out late.
Try to cut the 2.
That
But
was
a little too tight.
That was so close, too. And that's why he's giving it the stare down. Guess who's back in this match?
Josh Blanchard. Remember, it was Blanchard that was almost done in by open frames in the last match. He had 2 of them. Let's see how Tackett responds here as we start the 6th. Goes back to the left lane. It's been nothing but strikes for him on that left lane. This young man already at 12 tour titles, 2 of them majors. What a response.
Let me just drop one little nugget on you. This man here has won 11 times in the last 3 seasons. Let's not forget about E.J. Tackett quite yet.
And remember, he's getting married in November, but he's had issues winning over his fiancée. You know this story?
I do.
All right. You're going to hear the rest of the story when we return.
Number 13, Villanova is on a mission.
Villanova coming out red hot.
As Phil Booth and the defending national champs get locked and loaded for another title run, they face off with Shamari Pons and St. John's. A Big East basketball doubleheader begins Sunday at 3 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Back at the Tournament of Champions here in Fairlawn, Ohio, just outside of Akron. Standing room only crowd for this one as we take a look at our Strike Track game summary so far.
Yeah, the big thing has been the accuracy down lane, Rob. As you can see, the size of the cone difference as it expands more on the right side of your screen there for E.J. Tackett, and that's got him into trouble, especially on the right lane.
RPM's pretty level there as Blanchard steps up to close out the 6th. It's down 15. So his first pair of strikes here in match number 2.
All of a sudden, it's a 5-pin deficit now, and that's because of the open frame after the 4-bagger from E.J. Tackett. But that was a beautiful shot there. It looked like he just got a little softer with his ball speed.
This is his 2nd ever major telecast. He had a rather infamous moment in his first back in January 2012, Vegas, the World Championship. Thumb stuck in the ball.
Yeah.
Threw him off. He took a step to land, hit the oil, and went on his backside. Yeah, he drops all 10 pins on their backside here.
Boy, that looked like a carbon copy of his ideal line.
And we got a lead change. Tackett opened up with the first 4. As you take a look at his arsenal, he's got the Venom Shock Pearl right now. Again, the higher the number, the greater the hook. So this one's got low hook. Had that open frame in the 5th, now working on a strike from the 6th. Gets them all to fall. Tackett's fiancée in the crowd, Natalie Goodman, engaged, and they will get married in November. But you know who her favorite bowler is?
Tell me.
It's not EJ. According to @JBelmo, I wonder who that could be, right? Or your number 1 seed, Jason Belmonte. Send her a coffee mug. She is loving it. So there's EJ in the background. He's not even the number 1 bowler in the household. You know what? He's not even in the top 2. Bill O'Neill is also in the top 2. So it's Billy O and Belmo, and somewhere after that is EJ Tackett as we begin the 8th. Maybe he can move up the food chain in the house as he keeps dropping more strikes.
Well, those are 2 really good shots for E.J. Tackett. I think his only Achilles heel is that at times he tends to get a little fast. And those 2 right there after the open frame, he's got a 3-bagger now, and we've got a brand new ball game.
For Blanchard.
You're loving this because you got 2 of those in 1 game.
Tackett's got a chance for another, Randy. You hear the song in the background?
I do.
Do you remember who wrote that? Who the musical
Who composed that? I don't remember.
Alexi Lawless wrote it,
He did?
played it, sang it. Yeah. U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer, Alexi Lawless, Fox Sports broadcaster.
Yes.
My good friend, wrote that years ago.
And Josh Blanchard just shouted out Hambone to you.
Love him. How about a Yahtzee? Yeah! Roll the dice!
What a great match. This one's coming down to the 10th frame. Max score for Blanchard, 259. Max score, E.J. Tackett, 264. Tackett knows getting up in the 9th frame. If he strikes in the 9th, 10th, and 11th, all he needs is a good count to advance.
This is 7th major telecast, and it's been back-to-back majors on television for Tackett.
Hey, Randy, you know what's better than one ham bone?
Tell me.
Dos ham bones!
Oh, Rob. I'll tell you what, right now, we have got a fight on our hands.
Don't we?
And it's going to come down to the 10th.
5 pins.
And you can't ask for anything more in a major championship at historic Riviera than a match coming down to the 10th frame.
Tackett started with 4. Open frame in the 5th, and then 4 more straight strikes, looking to make it 5 in a row. Again, he can max out at 264.
Yeah, baby! Yeah! Big hit there because he knows that gets him in the 250s, and that forces Blanchard to double. That means 2 strikes in the 10th for Blanchard, minimum. But a strike here for Tackett. He needs to keep it on the lane, good count, and he's going to move on to take on Marshall Kent. Yeah, baby! Yeah! I really like what EJ's doing right now, Rob. He's taking a lot of time. Remember, his tendency is to get fast. When he gets fast, he gets erratic.
We asked him what worked this week. He said, I think it was my head. It's been a grind. It's been up and down, but my head has been level.
Brooklyn! Brooklyn!
It's one of the worst ways for a pro to win a game, but I'll tell you what, it's happened to E.J. Tackett before, it's happened to Josh Blanchard before, and E.J. Tackett has thrown enough great shots in his career and not struck. But what a huge break. He just made a ball change when he needs 6. He gets
all 10, and he's won.
Sorry, buddy. Thank you.
Nothing tastes worse than that, I'll tell you. Brooklyn to get beat.
Thank you.
Tackett moves on. Marshall Kent waiting in the wings, but up next, you're going to hear from the man looking to join 2 legends today. The strategy behind Jason Belmonte's pursuit of major history next.
This is not just a normal Sunday at the bowling league. This is a major.
Nothing but strikes.
The PBA Players Championship, Sunday at 1 Eastern on FS1.
Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler back here with you for the 54th edition of the PBA Tournament of Champions, the first major of the PBA season. Tackett moves on to match number 3 as we take a look at our updated step ladder bracket. Randy? 264, 236 the final last match.
Yeah, great matchup. They came down to the 10th frame. E.J. Tackett catching that Brooklyn strike in the 2nd to seal the deal. And even though Josh Blanchard got off to a slow start, he made a great comeback to make that match close.
Tackett, what a strong finish to that match. Had 7 straight strikes. How about this week's Ebonite flashback? We go 25 years ago. The 94 TOC right here at AMF Riviera Lanes. Norm Duke, he was your 2 seed. Took care of you, Randy, in the semis.
Yeah,
and then
thanks.
he took care of your tournament leader, Eric Forkley. Put a fork in Forkle in the title match. 217-194 was his 2nd career major. The win was one of 5 on the year for Duke that helped him win PBA Player of the Year honors. The event was the last TOC held here at Riviera until the PBA wisely brought it back here last year. And let me tell you, I've never seen young Norm Duke video. I really enjoyed it.
Hey, that was the last time he had facial hair, too.
It was gorgeous. How about these two talents, huh? Kent and Tackett. I think if you had to put your money down in Vegas right now, you'd say both these cats are headed towards the Hall of Fame.
Well, E.J. Tackett's already locked for that based on his credentials. I think Marshall Kent's got all the talent in the world to get there.
I do too. Dug hard. Ball change for EJ.
Yeah, and that one actually covered some more territory. I think the most impressive thing about EJ is you take a look at the 3-6-10, where what you try to do on this spare is you try to cover all 3 pins with a bowling ball. You hit the 3 pin on the right side, it deflects into the 6 and the 10.
The strength of that ball pretty similar to the one he was using earlier.
Yeah, and obviously he had a nice look and good shape, but he's looking for something a little bit different.
All right, here's our first look at your 2C 26-year-old Marshall Kent. 4 tour titles, his best ever finish at a major. Remember, he was the runner-up in 2012 at the US Open. His last title, though, all the way back to July 2017, won the PBA Oklahoma Open. That's how you start.
And when was the last time you've seen a pro on this tour throw it that straight?
Something we'll be tracking throughout, but both of these competitors trying to win to get to your #1 seed, Jason Belmonte, standing by with Kimberly.
Thanks, Rob. So, Jason, I saw that you had a chance to watch some of the previous matches, and you just threw some practice shots on the championship pair. How are you seeing the lanes?
Yeah, I think the lanes have transitioned a lot quicker than I was expecting. I saw some of the guys throwing reactive out there, and it looked pretty good. So it's going to be, in my practice shots when I get back onto the TV pair, I'm going to have to probably throw, both resin and urethane, take a guess, and see which one looks the best.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
According to Strike Track, nobody's played that far to the right as Marshall Kent did on that last shot. He's just 2.7 boards, or 2.7 inches, I should say, away from the right gutter.
Kent 8 for 8 in taking care of the 7 pin this week. Covers that one. We just listened to Jason Belmonte, your #1 seed. What did you take away from that conversation?
He's going to look at both sides. He's going to look at throwing conventional urethane and reactive resin, and then based off of his best ball reaction, that's what he's going to go with. He sees a little bit bigger change than he anticipated, and so he's got to go back to practice before his title match with more options. What's interesting in this match is that you have a player throwing one of each. E.J. Tackett using reactive, Marshall Kent using urethane, and that's also why you see such a big difference in the ball reaction and the lines that the players are playing.
10 pin has caused problems on the tour this season. Not for EJ there. You said this line to me a couple weeks ago. E.J. Tackett, pound for pound, the strongest bowler on the tour. Still buying that?
Absolutely. Yeah, but you know what? E.J.'s become a complete player where he can do a lot of different things with his hand at release to alter or change his ball rotation and roll.
But it's his carry that baffles you.
Yeah, I think for a power player like E.J., I don't think anybody hits a pocket as much as him. Maybe Jason Belmonte, but I think that if E.J. Tackett's carry was a little bit better, he might make the telecast every other week.
Right. Gets his first strike here in match #3, your de facto semifinal match. Again, waiting in the wings, your #1 seed, Jason Belmonte, who's hunting history, looking for that 10th major title, which would tie him for most in the history of PBA. Also, $1 million on the line in our next match. A perfect game and a $1 million check will be cut courtesy of Fox and PBA. Kent, we asked him yesterday, how do you describe the season? Awful. He didn't even let me finish the question, just awful.
He hasn't cashed either this year.
You see how strong he was last year, though. 6 top 5 finishes, but 0 wins.
Hey, you can see just how far to the inside shot number 1 was. And we're talking about blue line. And then that last shot there, the red line, and both strike. But he's doing something unique to manipulate the ball roll. He's so far up the back of the bowling ball with that urethane ball just to get it to read early. But man, oh man, is that straight.
After the tournament in Oklahoma, he had one of those realizations. Actually, it came in a gym in Oklahoma. He was working out with his competitor right now, E.J. Tackett, and he said, man, I'm awful right now.
Yeah.
And he went back home to Yakima, Washington, leaves the 7-pin, and as Kimberly mentioned, he put himself through 2 days on the lane, went to the gym for about a good hour and a half, dropped 19 pounds in 3 weeks. That's the best diet I've ever heard of in my life. He needs to write a book about that. 19 pounds, and he doesn't have a lot to lose. But he felt like in the last round of match play on Friday, he felt great. He said, I had no fatigue, I'm stronger, I'm better, and I'm ready to get back.
Well, he's got the metabolism of a hummingbird. With that being said, in speaking with his part-time coach, Mike Jasnow, Mike said, yeah, he put in all the work, he lost weight, he got refocused, rededicated, but he's also much more relaxed, and he's rested. And he says, you know what, Marshall's got a completely different outlook mentally now.
Go back to your 3 seed right now, E.J. Tackett. Spare, spare, strike as he gets set to close out the 4th.
Both players battling that shaker 7 right now. So that means the ball comes in just a little bit light, and it leaves that little half 7-pin. Right here, watch this. Needs to get that ball up into the 1-3 pocket just a little steeper, and the 7-pin goes away.
He was perfect on the 7-pin this week. Gets it there. Randy, how's your Valentine's Day shopping coming along?
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry. I got some last-minute ideas for you.
Okay.
You ready? All you got to do, you got to head to PBA.com.
Yeah.
You can check out the latest officially licensed PBA apparel and merchandise. Includes that brand new #Chasing300 t-shirt. Did you see it? Other unique designs, including they got the American flag PBA one. Did you see the red, white, and blue shirt?
I haven't seen that one yet.
That one's good.
Nice.
Go shopping today, right now, during the commercial.
All right.
Go click on the Shop PBA link on the main menu of PBA.com. By the way, if I bought my wife something from PBA.com for Valentine's Day, still would be in deep trouble. It needs to be a supplemental gift if I get her something from PBA.com.
It's like a mop for Christmas.
Yes, you're right. So Tackett gets a strike there in the 5th. A mop. Please tell me you've never got anybody a mop as a gift. Please tell me. Not even.
No, I never.
Not even for PA. Don't even get Patrick Allen a mop.
I've never bought anybody a mop, ever.
Have you ever bought yourself a mop?
I have.
All right, good. Here's Kent in the 5th. Kent, strike, spare, strike, spare. The spares on the left lane. He left the 7-pin both times, but here he is on the right. Now it's the 10-pin that he leaves.
His demeanor hasn't changed, even though his carry stinks. He's fine with a spare. He's still even with EJ.
That's a great line, because we asked him what worked this week, and he said, I made a game plan, and I stuck with it. I moved right. I stuck with urethane. I stayed out of trouble. Bad games are 180s, not 150s.
Right.
That could really cripple you and get in your way to getting here to television.
And you also have to factor in that now, Rob, he's in a 1-game match. And so he's going to do what he has to do, but he's also going to follow what his opponent is doing. If EJ starts striking and running away with it, and Marshall Kent hits the pocket and gets 9 every ball, he has to make a big change. Again, here's the difference in strength between reactive resin and urethane. At the arrows, E.J. Tackett is 8 boards farther left than Marshall Kent.
Messenger! He gets them all to drop after a pair of 9 spares. He takes the seat, and things are all even here.
Messenger to the sidewall, comes over, sends the 10-pin to the blue tent.
All right, our title matcher is going to be confirmed next as Marshall Kent continues to pursue what he calls a lifelong goal, winning a major title. We welcome you back to historic AMF Riviera Lanes in Fairlawn, Ohio. We take a look at our strike track. What are you seeing from our 4 competitors?
Well, all 4 players are getting there, or we're getting there in a different way. You can see by the red lines the different ball tracks. But what's very interesting is all the players are using the same break point. But Marshall Kent's break point, even though it's the same number, look at how close it is to him. And that's because he's trying to get his ball to roll immediately and check in front of him. The sooner it rolls, the better for Marshall Kent, and he's also going the straightest.
Things all even after 5.5. Tackett working on a strike to start his attempt in the 6th. His 3rd strike in his first pair. And now he's got some momentum.
And again, you can see that line that E.J. Tackett is playing in between 2nd and 3rd arrow. If you're looking at the lane, this is where E.J. Tackett is, right here. Marshall Kent, way out here.
Tackett won the TOC 2 years ago in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Also won the World Championship in 2016, going for his 3rd major here today.
Well, there's some pin carry. Let's not forget that huge break he got in the last game against Josh Blanchard that possibly got him to this point. I mean, it literally shut out Josh. If he doesn't strike there, no guarantee Josh still has a double, but he's here because of it.
He's got a 20-pin lead right now as Marshall Kent steps up to close out the 7th. There's his fiancée, Natalie Goodman. She got upgraded, by the way. She had a pretty good seat in the crowd. Now she's right there next to her future hubby.
Marshall Kent with 2 strikes, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. We'll tie it all up again. A big shot here for him. Bad shot.
Come on.
Bad shot?
Bad shot.
Because?
The location looks okay. It had to be poorly released because the ball never read the lane whatsoever. It was like it was sliding on 60 feet of ice.
Doing some hydroplaning out there almost. On an open frame.
Yeah, terrible time for that to happen, especially with EJ doing what he's doing.
Come on.
You and I were talking about the oil today over breakfast, and it's hard sometimes to convey what's going on to the layman out there. And you had a couple good analogies, and one of them was putting on the snow chains.
Well, that's basically what the bowling ball that Marshall is using, because the surface is so extremely rough. But the bowling ball itself is not very aggressive. So with urethane bowling balls, it has a lot of surface to try to get the ball to read the front part of the lane and read the lane early. But you can see just how much little and how soft the transitional move down lane is. There's very little back end movement, right? You go to reactive resin, which is more like a racing slick. So it's going to be much faster. It's going to rev faster. It's going to be cleaner through the front part of the lane so that when it comes off the end of the oil pattern, it's going to travel in direction of rotation, and it's going to have that violent snap to it.
He takes a seat, and you can see the displeasure, Randy, as the lead has now ballooned to 32 for Tackett. Looking to make it 4 in a row here in the 8th.
I really like what E.J. Tackett is doing. It just seems to me like he's just taking his time.
He took his time with us yesterday when we were interviewing him. Seemed very calm, not over-hyped by this moment. Leads to 10.
Or convert the spare, and all is forgiven, and that's fine. Keeping the ball in play, keeping it in the pocket, and he'll be that much closer to another showdown.
Jason Belmonte, your number 1 seed.
With Jason Belmonte, who has a 3-2 record against E.J. Tackett. These two no strangers, but it's not over yet.
Slams that one into the pit. And in 1 week, the greatest event in motorsports is back. You ready for the Daytona 500?
Love it.
Kicks off the 2019 NASCAR season 1 week from today, 2:30 Eastern. Pre-race begins at 1 p.m. Eastern, and you can see it only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
You thought E.J. Tackett had a lot of RPMs.
Right? Tackett can max out at 238 as we begin the 9th. Remember, our next match, $1 million on the line if somebody is perfect like that. Tackett can drop 12 of those in the next match. He's got $1 million, and EJ's mom and dad have now been moved up to the VIP seating, sitting next to their future daughter-in-law, Natalie.
E.J. Tackett has only missed once on the left lane in this match. Excuse me, all day.
Since that commercial break, it's been tough for Kent. That open frame in the 7th and the spare in the 8th. Only 3 strikes here in match number 3. He's lost it.
Yeah, that time it was a little slower, and that's kind of the residue of the last shot on that lane where he went light and left the washout. So the mind can sometimes play terrible tricks on the body, and I promise you the last thing that went through his mind was make sure this one hooks. It overhooked.
Well, the good thing about Kent is he really rebounded this week.
Yeah.
A disastrous start to 2019. Gets a strike there in the 10. Tackett's still got a little work to do.
I'm sorry, Rob. He's going to look back on this, and he's going to say, you know what, it was just a bad decision to stay with that ball or to even start with it. It looked like the lanes transitioned quick enough to where the players could move in with reactive, which is something they hadn't done all week.
That's pretty. That is from start to finish really pretty stuff. On TV, he's been no bueno. 3 and 11 coming in, averaging 204. Lost 7 of his first 8 matches on television. 3 of his 4 titles came in non-televised events. And at some point, that TV, those issues in front of the lights, in front of the cameras, they start creeping in that head, don't they?
Yeah, let me tell you something. This is no easy feat.
100%. Just to get here.
Getting here, I mean, I think
getting here is even easier. Is that what you're telling me?
I think getting here is probably easier than a 1-game match on television.
That's amazing. Tackett for the win and a berth in the finals, and he's got it. He gets them all.
Wow, trip to A10.
Yeah, the old trip to A10. You see it every day, right? Tackett smiles. He's had a couple lucky breaks, but guess what? He needs some luck to advance into big tournaments. Well, our thanks to the good folks at Clutch Bowling for providing us with their projection technology. Clutch Bowling, it's a brand new video projection system that combines vibrant graphics and motion tracking for a new kind of bowling experience. And you see it there across the lanes. Make sure to join us next Sunday, February 17th, 1 Eastern, over on FS1, live from Wayne Webb's Columbus Bowl in Columbus, Ohio, just south of us. It's the 2019 PBA Players Championship, live next Sunday, FS1, and on the Fox Sports app. Rob Stone, the Hall of Famer, Randy Peterson here with you. Time now for our Let's Go Bowling segment with Randy, and we're going to flash back to some of your favorite TOC memories.
There's been a lot over the years, but these are a couple of my favorites. And I think if I didn't mention Don Johnson in the 299 game, I'd get into big trouble. Seeing how it's his son's 50th birthday today. Happy birthday, Jimmy. But who could forget this moment? That face plant after the ring 10 was just priceless.
I watched that a couple times last night on YouTube, as a matter of fact.
Amazing. And how about this one? Tom Doherty. He needs 2. He's a big 4. He needs 2 to shoot 100, while Mika, by the way, is trying to shoot 300. Mika gets up in the 10th frame. He gets 2, and he needs this one for perfection. Look at this messenger come across, leaves a 10. Mika goes down. Tom Doherty's like, wow, at least I didn't lose by 200.
You and I were both there in Vegas for those moments. Some fantastic stuff. So the big storyline coming up next is this chase for 300. In major finals, you see there have been very few 300 games. Why do we bring that up? Because $1 million is on the line should Jason Belmonte or EJ Tackett have a perfect game here in our title match. So not only is $1 million up for grab, not only is a PBA title up for grab, not only is a major up for grab, but history is within reach for Jason Belmonte. Your title match from the 2019 TOC, live, uninterrupted, next. The PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or to locate a bowling center near you, log on to gobowling.com. I saw the Go Bowling mascot roaming around AMF Riviera. He's somewhere, he or she, I don't know, do bowling pins have sexes?
I've never been able to tell.
Nor have you ever been asked. Here's a look at your stepladder bracket, right? Blanchard won match number 1, fell to Tackett in match number 2. Tackett took care of your 2 seed, Marshall Kent, 238-192. Time now, your number 1 seed, Jason Belmonte, taking on EJ Tackett. The big hook here, should one of these two drop a 300 game here in the title match, they will earn a $100 million bonus courtesy of Fox Sports and PBA. And I remind you, this man, EJ Tackett, did I say $100 million? Hold on. The legal department just jumped on me. $1 million.
We got a nice start.
Yeah, no kidding. So Tackett, remember, was within 1 shot of perfection in his first game.
Yeah, he had 11 out of 12 strikes, and that was the match against Josh Blanchard. He had an open, and then that Key Brooklyn. But right now, he's going up against a man who's trying to make history.
Again, I want to stress, $1 million payday, not $100 million payday.
Do you know something we don't,
I
Rob?
do not, my friend. Here's Jason Belmonte, your number 1 seed, chasing bowling immortality. Well, we're perfect so far. Here's your Columbia 300 fun fact. Randy, how many televised 300 games have there been in PBA history?
In PBA history, I want to say 26.
You are correct, but only 2 have occurred in title matches.
Bob Benoit was 1, I believe.
Mike Albee was the second.
And Mike Albee was the other, yeah.
Yeah, all you had to do was read the graphic,
I want to say Bob Benoit was Grand Prairie, Texas against Mark Roth.
I'll take your word for that. But just listen how quiet this place gets, Randy.
Well,
everybody knows what's on the line.
The guy that gets all the prom dates is bowling now.
Oh, he didn't like it. But he gets the ball to fall. Oh, yeah. Good signs coming early for Belmo.
Well, Rob, he's chosen to go with with urethane and stay with the one he brought to the dance. And he had the most success with urethane this week. Remember, after round 1, he was in second, and then in round 2, he grabbed the lead and never looked back.
A win here for Tackett. He would become the 10th to win multiple TOC crowns. It would be his 3rd career major. There will be no 300 game for EJ. We'll take a look at the tail of the tape of our championship match. Tackett, just 26 years old. He's been on the Pro Tour for 7 years, has already won 12 titles. Just 2 of them majors.
An amazing record and stats for a young man that's only 26 years old.
Takes care of that spare. Well, he's well on his way to becoming one of the best, but Jason Belmonte is already there. 35 years old, 11 years on the tour. He's won 18 titles. Half of them have been majors.
You know, I think it begs to ask the question, what if Jason Belmonte lived in the States and actually bowled more events? How many titles would he have?
Again, a native of Orange, New South Wales, or Australia.
Dang it.
Left the 2.
Well, a really good shot on a strike in the second frame on the right lane for that massive ring and 10 for EJ, and then that shot there, it didn't seem like he cared for it. Maybe a little bit, not maybe, a little bit faster, almost 1 mile an hour faster on that shot on the left, and that ball went light.
Tackett, top 15 in all 3 of the big categories this season: earnings, average, and PBA playoff points. As he takes a seat, strike, spare for Tackett, your 3 seed. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to Carissa Del Bene, the Director of Experimental Marketing over at Bolero Corporation. Made the venture from the New York City area to join us here outside of Akron today. Delightful lady that had time to speak with her before this event. Here's Jason Belmonte. Strike, here he is in the 3rd.
Go ahead, say something. I have nothing. That 7 looked like it got hit by a taser. He's playing deeper than any other player that's used urethane today, and part of that's because the front part of the lane's broken down a bit, but the other part is because he's got the strongest strike ball on tour. But look at that 7. Did it get hit by lightning?
Somebody in the pit blow it over? 6th all-time meeting on television between these 2. Belmo has the slight advantage, but he's got a big advantage here as we open the 4th. He's up 21. That's a TOC ham bone.
And look at that reaction. Don't think for 1 minute when Fox and the PBA made the $1 million announcement that man right there didn't think that he wasn't going to win $1 million on this tour. I promise you, when he heard the news, he said, wow,
somebody's going to give me $1 million.
I'm going to win $1 million.
Tackett down 31. Started strong, and then it's been a pair of 9 spares. Back on the strike train.
Yeah, beautiful shot there by EJ on the right lane. Did you know that Chris Schenkel, the late great Chris Schenkel, one of the best announcers in the history?
Come on, the.
He's probably, yeah, okay.
He's the best.
The best ever. Is actually from EJ Tackett's hometown of Huntington, Indiana.
Player of the Year award named after Mr. Schenkel.
Yep.
Yeah, EJ brought that up to us. He thought that was a cool little nugget that not a lot of people had heard of.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than the 7-10.
Was it last game or the game before you came at me with the iffy carry for E.J. Tackett?
Last game. There you go.
Right in front of you.
Shot.
Ring 10 in the second. Almost a 7-10 in the fifth.
Belmo steps back up. We had 4 300 games this week. Jason did not have one of them. Working off a ham bone as he gets set to close out the fifth.
The two best players on the tour going at it for a major with so much on the line. History, possible $1 million. All happening at Riviera.
Come on, 10-pin! Jerk. Right? Like, I'm teed off.
That was such a good shot for 9. I'll tell you what, he doesn't want this one over, with the exception of the result. Yeah, it was a good one.
Great shot. Great shot. There will be no $1 million bonus.
He still has 3 other events.
Correct.
And so do the rest of our players. But
he missed it. Wait a second.
Okay.
You can tell that perfect game, that $1 million bonus was in the house. It was in his brain on that shot.
Yeah, well, we've seen this all season long. That's the second one he's missed. Remember, it cost Jacob Buttriff in week 1.
The Rolf Holman doubles competition.
Yep. Cost Brad Miller.
Sean Rash 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
Dick Allen got up and went 2 strikes and 8 in the 10th frame to beat Sean Rash. Now let's see how Belmonte recovers from this.
That's how you recover, my friend. That's why he's one of the best in the biz ever. Ever.
It's only one shot, but you're right. It's a great recovery from the miss.
I mean, this is a transformational figure in the sport of bowling.
Agreed.
What he has done, what he has accomplished, how he brought the world into two-handed bowling. I remember you and I did his first telecast.
Yep.
And we're like, what, Rob, we've got this crazy guy from another country that bowls with 2 hands. What are you talking about, Randy? Yeah. Now, it's part of our common bowling lexicon.
Yeah, his tour rep, Tim Mack, actually discovered him in Australia when he was 16. Oh, no.
How about that? It almost popped back up and stood.
Yeah, it looked like it was trying to stand back up in the 9-pin spot. But yeah, Tim Mack discovered him in Australia, made a phone call back to the States and said, excuse me, sir. And he's one of the owners of one of our great manufacturers. He says, you got to see this kid from Australia. You've never seen anything like it. And that was kind of the inception.
It's like one of those baseball scouts going down to the Dominican or Cuba and like, I got this guy who can throw heat. You got to see him. We got to sign him. Tackett throws some heat at that one, so he gets a spare in the 6th. See how Tackett got here to the title match.
Max scored 238 for Tackett, 267 for Belmonte. But Tackett's not out of this. He needs to strike here in the 7th and then get a string, put a little pressure on Jason Belmonte.
He's yet to string strikes together.
He likes it.
Messenger. Not enough juice in the mailbag.
Again, I think that's just poor carry. And his rev rate is so high. I mean, his rev rate is just underneath Belmonte's in terms of power. Just a pinch faster maybe that makes the ball delay, or excuse me, just a little bit slower on that shot, which should have gotten the ball to face the pocket a little bit more, but he's got almost as much power as Belmonte, and his carry at times is not good. And can I add something to what I just said? Belmonte did tell us yesterday, Rob, that he tried to make the ball very smooth off the end of the 40-foot Don Johnson oil pattern, because it enabled his ball to strike more.
He also said his weakness on television is to go to his strength on the lanes, wanting to curve it too much.
How big is that break?
Oof.
Didn't quite let that go the way I wanted to.
That's an understatement, Belmont. But able to get the 7 to drop, so this becomes manageable.
He didn't like it out of his hand, and you could see that had a little bit more back-end reaction to it. He probably got on the side of it a little bit more. That's a good sign. We got one spare in the bag.
So again, Belmo trying to join an elite fraternity that only Earl Anthony and Pete Weber currently are in. Double-digit major victories. It took Earl Anthony 16 years, took PD Dub 35. It could take Belmo just a dozen years. Flashback to 2014, Allen Park, Michigan, the 2014 TOC, Belmo held off the big nasty Wes Malott, won it. Next year, Aussie back at it in Indianapolis, defeated E.J. Tackett, his opponent right now, for his 2nd consecutive TOC and his 7th major of his title. Since tacked on a couple more. Belmo used a re-rack. He's got one left.
You know, and what makes him so dangerous is with all that power, he can go to a urethane ball and go straighter when he has to and when he wants to.
Takes a seat, 20-pin lead. Tackett, I mean, Randy, he has got to start stringing strikes.
I think
it might be too late.
I think his only chance is to strike out. 227 max now. If he goes off the sheet, that means striking out from the 8th frame on. Gosh, running out of time.
He's running out of time, and Belmo is running, sprinting towards history.
Now EJ's max score is 216. Belmonte can strike out for 247. Belmonte currently, though, is at 217. And that's just the simple math.
Tackett was the only player to win 3 PBA Tour titles last season.
Throw a good one here. Come on.
Still fighting. You got to love that spirit.
Absolutely.
You got to have that to be a champion, to be a major champion. EJ Tackett has that.
Told us yesterday how disappointed he was when he was unable to make a run here last year. You know, this venue means so much to the bowling community. The history that's been here, the drama that has unfolded inside and outside of these lanes as well. Go back to 91, the bomb threat that took place here.
Great shot. Still in it. Still has a chance. So much history. So much has gone down on this pair of lanes, 27 and 28 here at Riviera. And right now, Belmonte trying to add his name to that list. A strike here puts him in the 220s.
Only 2 people have won 3 TOCs. Jason Couch, Mike Durbin. Belmo, 2 frames away from joining another historical list. Back-to-back jacks.
He needs a mark. He needs a mark in the 10th frame. The only thing you got to avoid right here is that urethane ball hooking early and going through the nose.
Excuse me, Dave, can I take my second rear rack? Thank you.
Buying time, I love it. Composed himself. Some deep breaths.
He's just giving the house photographer more time to snap some pictures.
I love that list. Durbin and Couch. Couch, the only player to ever win it 3 consecutive times.
Right.
But Jason Belmonte, and I said it at the top of the show, I think when it's all said and done, I think he'll be the one player that has, his legacy will be that he has won the most majors in the history of the PBA Tour. Got a spirit. Remember, he missed one of these already.
He's been the leader since round 2 of qualifying this week, averaged about 229. Came into the week leading the tour with the highest average. Hadn't won, though. Was in the doubles show. Crashed out early, but he's got a 30-pin lead here.
He needs 1 pin. Stay behind the foul line. Keep it on the lane.
Better just check the score. I'm pretty sure. Yep. Okay.
The leader of the two-hand revolution is now on your Mount Rushmore professional bowling. 10 majors for Jason Belmonte.
And guess what? You are one of the best I've ever seen, man. You're incredible. You're incredible. Absolutely incredible, bro.
Aria, Hugo, Sylvie, I love you guys so much. Kimberly, Mum and Dad, Beck, I love you guys so much. I can't wait to get home and share this with you.
Soak it in, Belmo. PD Dub, Mr. Anthony, you have company. 10 majors, only 3 have done it, and they are all absolute legends. Jason Belmonte joining that elite fraternity, winning his 3rd TOC. He watches EJ Tackett close out his match. Kimberly Pressler standing by. We're going to hear from your winner in just a second.
I think EJ said it best, Rob.
Sure did.
When he congratulated Jason, he said, "Congratulations, Parge. You're one of the best I've ever seen."
He's the best of our generation. There is no debate. Belmo with Kimberly.
All right, Jason, you were very excited at the end of this match. You have hit 10 majors, and you have hit this milestone quicker than anyone else. Earl Anthony did it in 16, and everyone considers him to be the best in the world. You did it in 12. When you hear that, how does it register with you?
It's madness, Kimberly. It's madness. I'm so proud of myself. I sacrificed so much to be away from home. I worked so hard at my craft, and to have success be paid off because of that hard work, it means the world. I can't thank everybody here enough. All week, you guys have been incredible. Thank you so much.
Now, you've won your 10th major in this iconic building. What does that mean to you?
I really haven't had a chance to think about it. I mean, this gentleman right here started this. I'm able to do this because of people like you, Carmen. We are in debt to you. Thank you so much, and it's an honor to bowl in front of you.
Joining us right now.
PBA, great bowling. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you, Carmen.
Congratulations, Jason Belmonte, on your 10th major win.
Carmen Salvino, one of the founding members of the PBA and a Hall of Famer. Tom Clark, the CEO and commissioner of the PBA, is there as well. But Belmo raising the hardware, his 10th major.
Thank you, Storm Bowling Products. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Dave Sims. Thank you to my ball reps, Timmy, Jimmy, Doug Kent this week.
And you can join us next Sunday, the 17th, 1 Eastern, over on FS1. We'll be in Columbus, Ohio for the 2019 PBA Players Championship, also available on the Fox Sports app. Jason Belmonte joins elite company. All eyes are on you, my friend. 19 tour titles, 10 of them majors. Say hello to the Mount Rushmore of professional bowling. Jason Belmonte, you belong with the big boys up top.